ESO gets thousands of new players every single year and is one of the best things about the game. But with the world being as big as it is and all the changes and all the additions over the last several years, it's easy to feel a little bit lost at first. Today we're going to take a look at the new player experience, what makes the new player experience exciting, what can kind of feel overwhelming, and how to make those first steps in Tamriel feel smooth and enjoyable. Welcome back to the Tamriel Report, your in-game ESO podcast, where we slow things down and talk about the bigger conversations happening across the community. And today we're focusing on something that every single player has kind of gone through at some point, the new player experience. ESO is an incredible game, but it's also a huge game, and that can make the early hours feel a little bit confusing. So let's break it down and kind of talk about what's good in the game for new players, what could, use some help along the way to, maybe getting improved. And also, if you have any tips, leave them in the comment section. Those are always very helpful, I think, when it comes to, new players out there. They like to hear comments and suggestions, of course, from players that have played for a long time. And one of the biggest conversations in the ESO community year in and year out is the new player experience. You always see posts on the forums, post on Reddit asking, should I buy the game? If I buy the game, what happens in XYZ, whatever the case could be there. And I think that is something that as a veteran player, I always like to see, because I always like to see more players coming into the game, because of course, like any video game out there, players are going to come and go from ESO. Some people are going to leave, some people are going to come back, some people are going to pick it up for the very first time. And when it comes to those brand new players, you want to make sure that the game is enjoyable enough from a dev kind of point of view to where they want to keep playing. But also, as a community, you want to give good advice and help those players out along the way. Speaking of things that are going on in game right now, before I really get into the new player experience, Update 49 did launch, of course, on the 9th yesterday. I'm hoping everyone out there is enjoying Update 49, because those patch notes were absolutely massive. There's tons of changes going on in the game and a lot of great quality of life stuff, especially for you new players out there. One of the biggest strengths within ESO, in my opinion, from the outside kind of looking in, is it is on every platform. You can play it on the older generation consoles. You can play it on the newer generation consoles, the Series S, the Series X for Xbox, the PS5, the PS5 Pro, and it's usually on sale. So if you're on PC, you can pick up the game just straight from the Elder Scrolls, their own launcher there. They put it on sale there a lot. They put it on sale on Steam. They put it on sale on Xbox and PlayStation. And right now, in the month of March, if you are a PS Plus member, you can get all of the big chapter DLC all the way up to Gold Road, plus the base game for free for just being a PS Plus member. So there's always great ways to be able to pick up the game for free as of right now for the month of March, like I said, on PlayStation, or just on a really great deal at any time. You can buy the base game for really cheap, and a lot of times you can catch the DLC on sale for really cheap. Another thing here is it does carry the Elder Scrolls name, so that is something that people are always going to notice. You think of things like Morrowind, but I think the one thing that comes to mind would definitely be Skyrim. Skyrim was that one Elder Scrolls game that most everyone has played. I know there's some people out there that has never played Skyrim, and if it's something that or something you have always thought about playing, I would highly recommend it. It is a great game, but the Elder Scrolls name alone kind of draws people to the title when they see it. The world is beautiful. The quests are fully voiced, which is something you don't get in a lot of games nowadays. And it gives you a lot of freedom right kind of from the beginning. You can explore, you can craft, you can quest, you can decorate, or you can just wander around. That's the sense of freedom that you get when playing ESO. And I think that's one reason a lot of new players jump in every single year, because of that freedom. But I think that freedom also kind of tends to sometimes confuse players, because they're not really put on a course to do exactly what they need to do next, if that makes sense. And ESO is one of those games that I have played, like I said, since I've talked about it here on the channel a lot, since it came out on console. When they announced it and it came out on PC first, then it came out on console, I started playing on console. I own the game on PC as well, play it on there sometimes. But everything I do here on the channel has always been done from the console side, because that's kind of how I started the channel, and that's just kind of where I wanted to go in the direction, or what direction I wanted to go with the channel. So it's something I've always enjoyed playing. And if you are a brand new player, don't really worry about getting in a hurry. I know a lot of people try to get in and get in a hurry. Just enjoy the game if you've never played it. That is one thing I can honestly say that most people would recommend. There's no need in power leveling, trying to catch up with everybody. I mean, I've been playing the game, like I said, since it came out on console. I'm still not even 2000 CP. Now I do a lot here on the channel, play other games, things like that. But for me, when it comes to ranking up fast, I think the only times I was really ever kind of level with everyone else in higher ranks was when we had veteran levels years ago. And whenever CP got around, whatever it was, 800, 810, I kind of got to those max levels then. But up to a point, I did so much with housing, decorating, did so much stuff within guilds, just out exploring, farming, crafting, selling stuff, testing builds, because I love to throw stuff together and just go into my houses and test on the dummies. And I can sit there and do that for hours, just test stuff that's kind of off meta. So for me, I've never really cared about having to play catch up to get to the top CP. I know you're going to see players that are maxed out, players that are in 2,000 and 3,000 ranges. Don't worry about that if you're a new player. Don't worry about getting in a hurry. Just enjoy that experience kind of along the way. ESO does a lot for newcomers. I think the zones that you start out in are absolutely gorgeous. I mean, some of these have been reworked now as of recently. They look really good. They're very welcoming. They're easier to kind of understand because they're a bit smaller. Like I said, those stories that you experience throughout the base game into DLC are all fully voiced, which is insane in my opinion compared to a lot of games you get nowadays, especially with the amount of content ESO has. You're not really forced in a leveling path, and like I said, there's no need in getting in a hurry to level up either. There's tons of freedom to explore. You can just go out and explore. You don't even have to do the quest. You can just go out and just find stuff to do on the map, which is really great. It's also very solo friendly, and I made a video about this a couple weeks ago, that this is one of the more solo friendly games out there, especially when it comes to MMOs. You can play the majority, I'm going to say 80 to 90% of the game solo if you prefer to play that way. So that is something that is very good for new players, especially. You have companions that can help you out, kind of like you would have had in some other Elder Scrolls titles. So if you want a little bit of help along the way, you don't want to necessarily play with, someone else. You can, of course, find all the different companions we have available in the game in the different zones, and they can help you out along the way. You can make them tanks, you can make them healers, you can make them DPS. So that's a great thing for new players as well. And a lot of these worlds, and I'm not going to say every single world in the game, there's some touch-ups some of these worlds could use. Some of them do still look older. The newer zones, of course, look absolutely insane. And those older zones, like I said, some of them they have been touching up. But all the worlds really do feel alive. They feel like the devs put time in to those zones to make them look and feel kind of and represent what they are. For a brand new player, ESO feels like just an insane, massive adventure waiting to happen. And that's really a big part of the appeal to the game. Even with everything that is good, ESO's size really makes the early game feel overwhelming. That is the one comment I always see, is people feel like they're lost because there is so much to do, so much being thrown at them. And I don't really mean that in a negative way. More like kind of you walk into a massive theme park without a map, or to an enormous mall and you don't know where the stores are at that you want to go, find. It's just you have to do a lot of kind of milling around and wandering around and filling it out to figure out exactly what you need to do next. ESO gives you crafting, skill lines, guilds, antiquities, companions, mythic gear, champion points, events. And these things kind of come at you pretty fast. It's exciting and it's crazy to see all this stuff as a new player. And I'm sure that's one thing that does entice new players, is they see this game's not going to be boring. I'm not going to get stuff for a really long time. You start seeing a lot of this thrown at you early on. And it is very exciting, but it also feels like there's so much to learn at once. And kind of when it comes to being a new player, another thing I see a lot of people mention in forums and posts is what quest should they do first? What quest matters? What zones do I begin with? Which systems do I focus on? Overland, of course, is very forgiving. It is going to scale to you. We are going to get a Overland difficulty increase, of course, in the future. Hopefully at the end of Season 0 is what they're looking at. But this will allow you, of course, to increase the difficulty if that is something you want to do later down the road. The Overland being forgiving is great for accessibility for someone that is brand new to the game or even brand new to this style of game. But that doesn't always teach you the deeper mechanics right away. And that is one thing that I think the devs have been working on and have improved. They have improved that onboarding new player experience over time. But I still think some of the mechanics in the game are not taught as well as they could be. And I think that is one thing that I hope we see them work on in the future for newer players. When it comes to things that are not necessarily story and things that aren't, of course, group or not solo activities, but group activities, ESO has insane, incredible group content. But stepping into that for the first time really feels intimidating for new players. There's not a time in the game where I could see brand new players coming in and asking, hey, can I do this dungeon with you? Hey, can y'all help me out with this? I've been playing the game for X amount of years and have never touched a veteran dungeon or trials, just normal trials even. Because new players, of course, worry about mechanics. They worry about roles. They worry about, is their build good enough? They really worry about, if these players are really experienced, they're just going to kick me out. Because that is what they hear from this game and other MMOs just in general. And I understand that. That's a total normal kind of thought for anybody when they're coming into any game, really. And let's be honest, every single veteran player out there, even myself, I've kind of felt like this when I first started. I wasn't sure what to do. I mean, when I first started hopping into normal dungeons, I was getting destroyed back when the game first released. I was really kind of worried about hopping into veteran dungeons with, people that I may have not known as well then. And worried, will I be able to do what the game asks? Will I be able to perform as well? Because is my build good enough? Just all those kind of questions pop into your head as a new player. There's also a bit of a pacing difference, and I wish at some point we could have some type of fix for this. I have no idea what it will ever be, but new players want to explore the dungeon, listen to the NPCs, listen to the story, enjoy the environment. Meanwhile, many veteran groups are used to moving quickly because they've run these dungeons dozens and dozens and dozens and hundreds of times. Neither side is really wrong. It's just different play styles. But for a new player, it can feel like they're being rushed through content, of course, they've never seen before. That's why a lot of new players stick to solo content until they feel more confident within the game. I wish there was some type of system inside of ESO for new players that would group new players together in dungeons. That way you can go in and experience it with all of the new people. That way you don't have to really worry about, getting in there with veteran folks and they run too fast. And veteran folks don't have to worry about, someone that's trying to play the story. That way it works out for both sides. Usually if I see someone that is kind of lower level, I try to slow down. I know not everyone is going to do that, but personally I always try to do that. But I know, like I said, that's not everyone's kind of thing. They may be in a hurry trying to get things done. They just got home from work, whatever the case may be. But overall, I wish there was some type of experience where new players could hop in with new players. The same thing could be said for trials. I wish there was an experience where new players could go into an easier, even normal trial, and the game would kind of teach you more mechanics. That way, you don't have to really worry about hopping in with a group and hope they can teach you everything and don't kick you out, because that's the kind of fear that new players always have. So at some point, I would like to see something like that added into the game for, of course, brand new players. We talked about events last week inside of ESO, and I do feel like a lot of new players see these events. They are fun, they are rewarding, but new players do feel a bit overwhelmed with this stuff because there's so much being thrown at them in the game, and now we have, of course, events being thrown at them as well. And they see a lot of limited time items, and it's not always clear what's important, what you need to exactly do in these events. Should I quit doing what I'm doing over here in the story and go to this event? The events aren't a bad system by any means, but as a new player kind of looking at it all, it is a lot to take in at one single time. And then you kind of have the guild idea. Guilds are either, social guilds, role-playing guilds, trading guilds. There's tons of different great guild systems in the game, but kind of like when it comes to dungeons and trials, they do feel a bit intimidating if you are brand new. Once you get more comfortable with ESO, the game opens up in tons of different ways. You will see and experience things that you never even knew were there when you first started. It just takes a lot of time to kind of settle into the game. But I always recommend finding a guild. Now, a trading guild, of course, if you are on console, every platform is going to experience this differently. But you will have to pay on console to be in those trading guilds. When it comes to PC, I know a lot of their guilds are more revolved around depending on how much you sell. You have to sell a certain amount of stuff per week to be in that guild. Either way, you're going to have some money to be in a trading guild, is all I'm trying to say if you're brand new. So if you are brand new, I would look into finding guilds that are for new players, guilds that are really there to help out more than maybe necessarily just being a trading guild. If you are on PlayStation, I do have a guild, so let me know if you would ever like an invite to that. That is something I could definitely help you out with. But I recommend trying to find guilds that are social, guilds that are inviting to new players, not necessarily just a trading guild. You can be in many guilds inside of ESO, so later on you can join a separate trading guild if that's something you are interested in. And for today's rotating segment, I really just want to give a quick tip to new players. Make sure you train your mount every single day. A lot of people forget this, especially when they're first starting out. You want to make sure that you're getting your speed, stamina, and carry capacity maxed out as quickly as possible. The great thing is, if you are starting out after the 9th of March of 2026, you can now go into the Stable Master and upgrade 3 stats at once each day, where it used to be just one thing each day. So now you can actually upgrade speed, stamina, and carry capacity 1 point in each stat each day. So this will help out with how quickly you can get your mount maxed out across all 3 of those stats. So you always want to make sure that you are going in and updating and upgrading those mounts every single day for every single character you have. That way you will have more carry capacity and a easier time navigating the map when you're on a mount. It won't feel like you're just kind of walking around on a mount. You will actually be able to run around on a mount and cover a whole lot more ground. ESO is a great game to me for newcomers, but there are a lot of areas with a little extra guidance I think could help the early experience even better, and these are things that I hope the devs add in at some point. A little bit of a clearer onboarding path. They have done a great job with improving that over the years. I hope they can improve that a bit more. More explanations of core systems, optional guided progression. With the difficulty systems that we're getting, I'm hoping they add something in for new players so they can see those different difficulty options. That way they don't feel like they're forced to play on something harder if they don't want to. Better in-game build clarity and also mechanic clarity overall. Maybe refresh the tutorial even more. I know they have done it several times now, but I still think there could be a few things there they could add into that. Maybe clearer event explanations for newer players. And something, like I said, a smoother group finder experience, so where new players can go in and learn mechanics in dungeons and just to be able to experience dungeons and even trials as a group of new players. That way they don't feel like they're too pressured to hurry up. They can enjoy the experience, and they also can learn mechanics along the way. These aren't really criticisms of what the devs have done. I think they're more of opportunities. ESO has the foundation to really teach new players the structure for the game going forward. And one more thing, I guess I will add a second tip in there. If you are a new player, I said this at the beginning, just pick one goal at a time and enjoy the game. ESO is huge. You don't need to do everything at once. Choose something you enjoy. Questing, crafting, dungeon, housing, whatever other options you like that are out there. The game will open up naturally as you go. There's no need to rush and be in a hurry. In the next episode, we're going to take a step back and look at something kind of special, how ESO has evolved over all of these years. From launch day to now, this game has changed in so many ways when it comes to systems, combat, storytelling, events, quality of life, and the overall feel of just Tamriel in general. It's easy to really forget how far ESO has come. So episode 4 is going to be a celebration of that journey and the community, of course, that helped shape it along the way. Thanks for listening to episode 3 of the Tamriel Report. If you are a new player, I would love to hear how your first few weeks or days have been inside of ESO. And if you are a veteran, make sure you share some advice in the comments. You never know, you might help someone fall in love with the game even more. And if you like the video, hit the like. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.